Hello, and welcome back to the My First Marathon podcast, where we interview runners in all stages of their running careers about their first marathon experiences to prove to you that anyone can run a marathon. My name is Taylor, and today's episode is one of those stories that feels full circle in the best possible way. Holly is someone who spent most of her life convinced that running just wasn't for her. She grew up playing sports but actively avoided running whenever she could, used it on and off as a tool for weight loss, and eventually walked away from it altogether for nearly a decade. For years, she stayed connected to the sport, though, only as a spectator and a cheerleader, supporting her husband through his six-star journey while firmly believing that the marathon distance was something she would never attempt herself. That all started to change later in life when a single treadmill class, a growing sense of curiosity, and a very honest, how hard could it really be moment really planted the seed. What followed was a first marathon journey fueled by podcasts, Peloton classes, Diet Coke rewards, and a deliberate decision to train for enjoyment instead of speed. Holly's Chicago Marathon debut became less about chasing a time and more about learning how to pace herself, trust her body, and actually have fun. Without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Please welcome Holly. Well, Holly, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you. We were just chatting a little bit, but you ran the Chicago Marathon very recently, which I was also at. So I'm excited to kind of hear your perspective. And but first, just welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Well, I'm super excited to be on the show. This is a show that I listened to while I was training. So it's kind of like full circle. Get to be on the show that I listened to while I was running in the woods.
Love it. Love it. And now people get to hear your story. So this is very fun.
I'm excited.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, you know how the show starts, so we'll kind of start from the beginning. Where did movement start for you? Where did this where did this kind of relationship with movement and running start?
Well, I think like a lot of girls my age, I'm 52. A lot of it started back in high school where you did I played lacrosse and field hockey, and I did not like to run. So I would hide behind the shed and wait for the girls to come back, and then I would join the group. Running was not my favorite thing to do. And I did find my senior year at high school that running provided a purpose of losing weight, which I think a lot of people initially start to feel like that's what you can do with running. So for cheerleading, I needed to lose some weight in order to be on the varsity squad, which was told to me by the coach. So I used running to do that, and I kind of enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite thing. Fast forward to college, same thing. Senior year, started the Denise Austin sweating with the oldies cassette tapes, running around the University of Kansas campus, listening to those tapes. Same thing, just used it as a purpose to get out there and move, but also to lose weight. Got married, had kids, and it wasn't until 2010 that my husband and I were on Cape Cod, and there was a little race. And so he's like, do you want to do it? And I was like, well, sure. I mean, let's try. So I tried, and my husband and my son and my sister, and we all raced, and it was more for fun, and I enjoyed it. And so I kind of put that back in like my toolbox that wasn't too bad. I walked some because of course I hadn't trained for it. It was just kind of like a family event. And I was at Weight Watchers one day, and the instructor said, hey, we're going to have a 5K after the meeting today. And I didn't call my husband. I didn't tell anybody. And I went to the 5K and I won it. And I was like, wow. I won. And so I went and bought myself a Margaritaville machine. And my husband's like, where were you? And I was like, yeah, I won. And he's like, you won a Margaritaville machine? I was like, no, I bought that for me as my treat. Yes. But I was like, this is kind of fun. Like I felt empowered. I felt good because I ran the whole time. I mean, I didn't look at my like time per se, but I was like, I felt good. So I was like, let me try another one. So we tried another one. My husband and I ran one together. Then I decided I wanted to try a triathlon. So I trained for a triathlon, and I live in Kansas. And so that means swimming in lakes, and that means snakes, and that means big, ugly fish. So that was a one and done. And that kind of stopped my running for a period of time. For about, I would say 3 years, I didn't do anything. And then I ran a couple more road races and stopped that again and didn't have anything to do. And then met up with these three girls, and they were very interested in doing we have something in Kansas called the Heartland Series, and it's 3 half marathons back to back. And so the first one is called Rock the Parkway, which is very well known and very well liked. And I did that one. And the second one's the Kansas half, and I did that one. And the third one is called Running with the Cows. And that's exactly what you would think it was.
That sounds very Kansas to me.
And that it's very Kansas. And it was, I did that one in 2013, and that was the end of running. I had no more interest in running in the wheat fields or with cows or being that bored or tortured again. And I said, I'm over it. So during that time, so for 10 years, I did nothing. My husband decided that he was going to go on his 6-star journey. So I became the cheerleader for race running. So he ran Boston, and he's run New York. He's run Berlin and London. And so I basically did the cheerleading for that. And it was in 2022. I went in July. It was the first day that the Peloton studios had opened to the public, the new studios. And I was there for spin classes because I still like to move. I always have been into spin classes or lifting weights, and I would go to the gym every day, but running was not a part of that mix.
Sure.
Walking was fine, but I was not going to run anywhere unless you were going to chase me. But Lizzo was there that day, and I had not gotten into the spin class, but I had gotten into the running class. And I was so scared to take this class because I had, number one, never taken a treadmill class. Like I couldn't even picture what you would do like with a person on a I had no idea. So Marcelle was the instructor, and she came around. She said, have you ever taken a class? I said, no. And I said, I don't run. I don't like to run. I hate to run. And she said, well, you're going to run. And I tell you what, I got off that track. I was like, I loved it. Like, I was like, I need to buy a tread right now. I loved it. I loved everything about her. I loved everything about running. I was hooked. I went home. My husband's like, yeah, absolutely not. So I got an elliptical. I drug one from a Facebook marketplace. And I said, if I do the elliptical, will you buy me this tread? And he's like, okay, if you can stay committed to doing this elliptical. He's like, you've never stayed committed to running. I'm not going to go out and buy. So I would do her classes on the elliptical, and I'd save my money. And finally, I had enough money to buy the tread.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, I would take these classes, and I would take some running classes, but I still wasn't serious. Like, I mean, I would take some running classes, but I probably couldn't do anything. So we went to London to watch my husband run the London Marathon. And I was in studio. I did a whole bunch of running classes. I did like Jeffrey and John and Jermaine, and I'm doing all these running classes. And everybody's like, why aren't you running the marathon? I'm like, oh, I possibly could not.
Yeah, it couldn't be me.
Absolutely no way. I have no interest in this. So we go out to cheer for him, and I stood it was like halfway, so 13 miles, and it was dreadfully hot there. My husband likes to wear compression pants. So he's wearing long black pants and a long sleeve shirt, and he's just dying. And he wants to get out. Like, he's like, I'm done. Like, it's over. I'm sweating. I was like, no, you can't quit. Like, why would you quit? He's like, this is hard. I'm like, how hard could it be? Like, really, how hard could it be? And he's like, serious? And I'm like, yeah, really. Like, how hard could this really be? And he's like, you should try it. And I was like, well, we'll see about that. So I was like, so it took me, we ran from 13 miles to the end, and I still did, like, he beat me to the end, but like I tried to get on the subway, the tube to get to him. And by the end, I was like, why couldn't I? I mean, I do like a couple classes a day. So that's like 9 miles. And so I talked to Jeffrey, one of the Peloton instructors, and I said, do you think I could? He's like, yeah, girl, you can. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, if I go home and I can whip out a half marathon, I'll do it. So I came home, and I was like, well, I'm going to run a half marathon. So I put on Susie Chan's book. She's another Peloton instructor who does ultras. And I just took off. And so I ran, And I did 13.1, landed in a church, and was like, okay, I did it. So now what? Now I have to sign up. So I talked to my husband, and he was doing Chicago next. And he's like, well, if you're going to do anything, you should do Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a lot of people. I hadn't raced for a long time. And we had COVID. To me, it felt like that was a lot of people. Like, I know myself, like, if you have the gun goes off, like, I gotta go. Like, it's a race. Like, I don't understand, like, slow down.
Right.
And then I didn't, like, do you push the people out of the way? Like, I didn't know what to do. And so he said, why don't you go do like a 5K? So I took my son, he's 16, and we went and did a monster dash. And I was like, okay, if I can do a monster dash and not freak out that there's like other people here and I'm not pushing kids and children and dogs out of the way, and just run it like a calm person would, that it'll be okay. And that like if I started signing up for some smaller races, it would quell the anxiety. So I did that, and I won my age group. So my husband was like, you did not do what you said you were setting up to do. He's like, you were supposed to be like the calm mom and stay with your son, and you didn't. You went like a bat out of hell. So I was like, okay, I did it again. So he's like, why don't you sign up for St. Patrick's Day? And so I signed up for St. Patrick's Day. I went alone. I didn't want anyone to come cheer me on because I didn't want to go fast. I wanted to go slow. Again, I did it again. I went out of the chute. I beat my last time. And I was like, I'm not learning anything.
Yeah.
So at this point, I needed to sign up. So he had already signed up with Ronald McDonald House. So he's like, if you sign up, now we don't have to pay for the bib. And I'm all about saving money. So I was like, well, I don't have to pay for the bib. All I have to do is pay, raise the money. And the money's going for somewhere good. So if I have to back out, the money went for somewhere good. And now I'm out. No harm, no foul.
Right.
So I signed up, and then I was like, okay, well, we know that I am not good at going slow, and this is a long race. And so I wanted to learn how to pace myself. So I said I was going to sign up for a half, and I was going to do that Rock the Parkway half again because it was in April. And I was going to learn how to use a pacer. Well, I was too late to sign up. So I bandit ran it by a man who had broken his leg. He was selling his bib. So he gave it to me, actually. And then they were able to not change my name, but they changed my sex and age. So I wasn't a 25-year-old man.
Gotcha.
So that the stats were correct. So it wasn't
so you could place. Yeah.
But the man is Brett. I went out there again alone because I told my husband don't show up because I don't want anyone cheering for me because I don't want to again go too fast. And I found the pacer, and I was like, okay, do you talk to them? I wanted to learn how to work with them. Them. I introduced myself. I said, I'm going to try to stay with you the whole time because this is the pace I would like to stay for a whole marathon. And, okay, yes. Boom, out the chute, gone, never saw him again. I didn't learn anything again.
This competitiveness in you is like, Yes.
And so my husband's like, this is your MO, and I know this, and you really have to reel it in. I decided to hire a coach because I figured that was probably going to be my best way to learn how to pace because I didn't know anything about running. And I love my husband dearly. The Chicago Marathon was happening 2 days after our 27th wedding anniversary.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've been around a long time. Again, we've been around a long time. I don't want to hear it from him. I was like, somebody. I mean, it technically was almost the same information, but hearing it from somebody else is much better than me hearing 100%. It from him. So, and he agreed. He was like, well, I would have told you the same thing, but that's fine. You listen to her.
You know what's funny is the first thing they teach you, I just did my coaching certification like 4 or 5 months ago or so. The first thing they teach you in that class is never coach your friends and family. Like even if it's just your boyfriend you've been with for 2 weeks, like it's not worth it. It's not, you're not the one that needs to give them that information. It should come from like a third party. So that makes sense.
I don't want to listen to you. I was like, first of all, you absolutely know nothing about me. And he's like, oh, I do. I got your number, but he's like, let's let this other lady tell you.
Sure,
So
sure.
I hired a coach. And I told her I don't want to get faster. Like I don't want to work on speed because that sounds sucky. I wanted to have a damn good time. I wanted to not get injured and I wanted to finish. I said at the end, I wanted to be the person that was like, that was the funnest thing ever. I want to do it again. I didn't want it to be like, I never want to do that again. That was
Yeah.
terrible. So she created my plan I felt like it was very simple and not complicated because I wasn't a runner to know what, like, my husband, of course, was like, well, that's a yacht. So I don't know. You tell me to run, I will do what you say. I am very
Yeah.
black and white. Like you say, do this, do this. I don't know. So she created the plan. We started May 1st, so that I had a longer time to kind of ramp on, and I had the whole summer. I felt it was very doable, and I did one other 5K during that time. But other than that, I used virtual races to kind of entertain me. Like I would sign
Yeah.
up for
Yeah.
virtual 5Ks. I used a lot of the New York Roadrunner 5 virtual races so that I could earn a place to do the Brooklyn half. So they have a program called the Virtual 6 where you can do 6 virtual races to be able to run the Brooklyn half in person. So that's what I'm going to do this year. So I kind of used it as encouragement. I did all my runs alone. I didn't I wanted to try run clubs, but I live in Olathe, Kansas, which Garmin is headquartered here. So you'd think there'd be tons of
Mm-hmm.
run clubs. And there
Yeah.
are, I'm afraid I'm going to knock people out. Like I'm afraid I'm
Sure.
going to like not find somebody my pace or I'll be alone. So I just decided it'd be better to be alone. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so that's a blessing. So I know a lot of
Yeah.
people don't have that, have a 26-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 23-year-old, and an 11-year-old. So
Yeah.
2 of them are out of the house, grown, and then I have 2 at home, but both of them are self-sufficient. So my husband would run on the weekends, but I would take off at like noon on a Wednesday and do
Yeah.
17 miles. That way he could have the weekends and I wasn't bothering anybody and I was toddling off, not bothering anyone during the day. So
Yeah.
I was lucky that way. I don't think a lot of people have that luxury. So I didn't really use run clubs. I always have it on my calendar, like go to run club, but
Yeah.
KCMO is probably like 40 minutes away, and I'm not a morning person, so I'm not going to get up at 5 in the morning to drive an hour to go to a run
That's
club.
far to go to run club for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I just did them all by myself, and I think that for me that was helpful for the race because I ran it alone. I
Mm.
didn't know anybody, so I was used to running by myself.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of podcasts. And so anytime there was a new one, I'm like, yes, let's go. And so
Try to
uh,
schedule your life around the episodes
yeah,
coming
when
out.
the
I
episodes
definitely have done that.
Blue Dot, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
A lot of Peloton classes being stacked, live
Cool.
ones. They do live run clubs on Saturday mornings. So I would save those because that's a live leaderboard. I mean, it was just always pretty much by myself.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people will like that time to, like you said, you listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of things. Like, did you feel like you had a lot of time to think and reflect and
yeah,
take in training more so because you were training by yourself?
yeah. And I did a lot of the same routes, but like I think that I was able to figure out like what my speed should be and how to pace it better when I was
Yeah.
by myself. Like I feel like if I was trying to keep up with somebody that I would have gone faster than I should have. I think I realized like where my happy spot was, and I just run on feeling. And so I think I realized where I could just not look where everything else was
Yeah.
and just realize like, you know what? This is your pace. And you just need to, if your breath gets breathier than this, just pull it back. And just,
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't winning the Chicago Marathon, so there was no need to like freak out. And I just needed to go at my happy pace and not
Yeah.
worry about numbers.
Which
And
is
that's kind of what
easier said
happened.
than done, like finding
Yeah.
that pace.
Well,
It's
yeah.
definitely takes some time. I guess how was working with your coach able to help with like with that? Was she giving you feedback on, hey, maybe we should be around this pace, or maybe we should be focusing on these feelings? Like, what? How is she or he helping with that?
Yeah. There was like some speed work, and they would tell me what the speed work was and the numbers I had to stay on. And those I would do on the treadmill. But
Mm,
I did none of the other runs on my treadmill. Everything else was outside. So I would do whatever they said number wise on the treadmill. And then I would do everything else was easy run. So, I mean, I think they supported me in knowing that I was not trying to like get faster.
yeah, which I
But
think for your first marathon, which you've probably heard a million times on the show, but like your first marathon, it's your PR, right? Like there's no
yeah,
need to go
right,
out there and try to win anything or try to compete
right.
with anybody. It's like let's just set the baseline. Let's figure out what training looks like, what our easy
Yeah,
pace looks like, and just have a good time. I think that's a great way to
yeah.
approach your first marathon. Yeah,
Yeah, I just didn't. I was like, I thought I may be around like 5 hours. I was like, but I was like, I don't care if I have to walk.
yeah.
I don't care. I'm still gonna get the same medal. I was like, but I knew it would be somewhere around there. But I was like, who knows what it'll be.
Very
So
cool.
yeah,
So as you were kind of moving through training, so like the big runs that always come up for people are like the first one over a half marathon, or when you're starting to get into like 15, 16, 17 miles and kind of like breaking down those mental barriers in yourself. So how were you approaching those runs? What were those first couple of tough runs like for you as you were moving through training?
well, so I love Diet Coke. I love a crispy Diet Coke, so that was
Yep.
always my treat. So, I would just like run around my neighborhood and just go a little bit further and just a little bit further. And I mean, I think that just treating myself after each one, there was the gas station up here has the Diet Coke, whatever. And every time they saw me, they're like, "How far this time? How far this time?" And
They
I'm
knew you.
like,
That's so
"Oh,"
cute.
yeah, and they were like so interested. And then the little gas station guy, he's like, "I think I'm gonna run the Garmin marathon this year." I'm like, "Really?" And he's like,
Wow.
"I watch you come in here every day. It seems so easy." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's so easy." I think like the long runs, I think just knowing that I got it done during the week helped me, and
Hmm.
then knowing that I got like the little treat at the end, like little sweet treat, and I could walk home, and that just helped me. I think just the long runs and just having like a plan, like of what to listen to and what to think about and that kind of thing. It just helped me. And so I get scared running through the woods, you know.
Sure.
So I stay on like the main road. So I try to keep it entertaining and find like different routes. And Strava really helped like find routes that were like on main roads that were where I could find bathrooms and water and you can route them. So that was helpful.
Very cool. Yeah, it can get definitely pretty monotonous when you're training and running the
Yeah.
same routes. But I think
Yeah.
anything that you can do, like you were saying, like a little sweet treat or
Yeah.
something to reward yourself or switching up the route a little bit, like I think that that makes a huge difference
Yeah,
through
for
surviving
sure.
marathon training for sure. Well, cool. And then moving through training, where was your longest run at? Was like a 20 mile, 21? Where did you end up
Well, so
like
I
peaking at?
did 24, but I decided I was going to run to Garmin headquarters. So
Okay.
um, it's 12 miles away. So I ran 12 miles there. And then it was like, oh, I don't have to run all that way back. But I was like, what are you going to do? So
Yeah.
I ran all the way back and it was fine. I was like, well, shoot, maybe I should just do two more. And I was
Right.
like,
Maybe
no,
I'll
for
just knock it
God's
out.
sake. I was like, guys, just stop. And so I went and got my Diet Coke and I called my husband. I said, can you pick me up at the gas station? He's like, you can't walk home? I'm like, no, dude, pick me up.
I just basically ran a marathon. Yeah, come get me.
I was like, I'm
Oh
not
my
supposed
gosh.
to. I'm just supposed to do 24. He's like, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my long run was I decided to go there, take a picture, show my Garmin, and then run back. So
Love it.
that's what I
Very
decided
cool.
to do.
Do you feel like so it sounds like the 24-mile run was like just because that was the distance that you had planned for that day, but like do you feel like getting close to 26 helped you in like a mental aspect or a physical
Yeah.
aspect in any way?
Yeah, I was like, I got it. I was like, 2 more miles I could walk. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I looked at the plan, the map, of course, and everybody had been talking about Roosevelt Hill, right? And I was like, well, what is it? Like, I don't know. What's a hill to them? What's a hill to me? And I was like, how do I know if it's going to be like this? Like, I don't know. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, do I have enough gas in the tank right now to do a hill? I was like, well, maybe it depends on the hill. And I felt like I had a little bit. And I was like,
Yeah.
so I felt like I was trained enough that I could do it.
Good. That's a good feeling to after your
Yeah.
final long run to be like, okay, yeah, I have gas in the tank. That's always good.
Yeah.
And then we didn't talk about fueling much throughout that. I mean, if you were able to pace and feel good at the end of 24 miles, I would imagine that
Yeah.
feeling was really good,
Okay.
feeling pretty good. But what did all that look like?
So when I went home after London and I ran that half marathon, I didn't like to drink water at all, period. I didn't want anything sloshing in my stomach. I didn't want to stop for anything, nothing. So I didn't fuel with anything. So after the first couple runs we did in Cape Cod this past summer, that was the only run I had a problem with. I did a 5 mile run on the Cape, and I was like in front of my husband, but I got a cramp in my leg, and I was like, I don't know why I have a cramp. He's like, well, I do. Do you want to know why? Because you're not drinking water. And he's
Mm,
like, and it's a different elevation out here. It's got, there's salt in the air. He's like, you really need to drink water. And so I was like, well, how do I drink water? Where am I supposed to put it? And so that's when I was like, well, maybe I should get a vest. And I was like, I don't want to wear a vest. It's so hot. And
yeah.
so I started experimenting on like different kinds of vests, different ways to carry water. And so I don't like water. I like diet. I know. So my husband's like, you cannot carry Diet Coke with you. So
Yeah.
I learned what they put on the course at Chicago. So I bought that and I mixed those in those rubber flasks and I froze them. And then I would freeze one of water, and I'd put one of each in my vest and one in the back. And then I would alternate as I was running. And then I learned about salt tabs. And so I would suck on two of those every hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned about fueling. So I tried tons and tons of different kind of fuel, because you're supposed to. So I tried the Morton gels. That tastes like, those ice packs that go in the fridge that have the,
Yeah.
the blue. So that's not happening.
No.
So no, I was like, that tastes not right. So for
Yes.
me, my husband eats them just fine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like things that taste sweet. So I like the birthday cake frosting goo.
Oh, you were going
Oh,
way sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, this tastes like frosting. I could eat this all the time. And then they
Yeah.
came out with the pumpkin pie, and it tastes like pumpkin pie batter. So I was all about those two. So I had those, and I would alternate those every 30 minutes. I would stash some candy on me in case. But other than that, those are what I used to fuel. And so I had taught myself Gatorade, water, suck on the two, and every 30 minutes have a goo. And
Yeah.
I never had a problem at all.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that during the race. Water, Gatorade, and alternated, and then sucking on the salt. And I didn't have any problems.
That's great. No, that's
Yeah.
great. I think that's a well executed fueling strategy. I think
Yeah.
right there, which is
Well, and
always
I had
good.
a lot of like my husband was like, you have so much. And
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm not going to have an incident where like something fall. Like I had a rubber band system going on with my glues around my
I love
belt.
it.
Like, and I put the rubber band so I could count how many. And then I had
I
like
love
three
it.
extra stuffed in the back. And then he's like, you have so many glues. I was like, I don't want to have a problem. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what would happen. But he's like, going from you not drinking water and not doing anything to you having all these things. He's like, it's so interesting. I was like, I feel so much better when I'm taking these things. I didn't know. Like, I would feel better doing
Yeah.
these things. I was like, I had no idea. But I also looked forward to them because it tastes like frosting. And so I was
That's
like,
good.
oh, I can go on a run. I can run for,
A
he's
little
like, you
treat.
really don't need a goo for, a 4 mile run. I'm like, yes, I do.
You're like, don't worry about it.
It tastes good. But I was like, I learned that my body would go longer for further if I did those things. And that was something I didn't know at the beginning. I was like, oh, watch me run with no water. And he's
Yeah.
like, you're nuts. But,
Yeah.
you live and
No,
learn.
that's great. You do for sure. Yeah. And I remember I always joke that like I remember the run where I fueled properly for the first time and I was like, "Oh, okay. Like this is what it's supposed to feel like." And it's such a like like a hack, or you feel like you're like hacking running
Yeah,
when
I
the
was
first
like,
time that you feel correctly.
oh. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I learned about, eating the before and eating 2 hours before, and then, like letting it settle and going to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, because, I mean, there were several times where I didn't do that. And then I'm sitting in the grass on the curb calling my daughter, I need you to pick me up like right
Yeah.
now. And then she sends
Yeah.
her boyfriend, and I'm like, no, like I'm going to poop my pants. Do not send your boyfriend.
Come
No.
here now.
I need to like call him now. And she's like, oh, I didn't know it was like that situation. I'm like, yeah, don't send him.
Yeah, I need you. I need you.
Yeah. So it was like a lot of
That's so
learning
funny.
of that, of like with the timing. And I was like able to do it exactly how I wanted to the day of the race as well. I did the exact same thing. And I had been practicing it for weeks, like the same breakfast, the same thing, because I didn't want any surprises at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, very smart. Cool. Well, let's talk about race week. So, leading up to race week, you were traveling into Chicago. So,
yeah.
what were some of the logistics like? When were you getting in, going to the expo? What did all of that look like?
So Thursday, we flew in on Thursday because it was also our wedding anniversary. My husband doesn't like to be on his feet. And I was like, oh my God, there's shopping to be done. And I was like, we are going to hit every little stall. We're going to do everything. And he's like, really, we should be sitting. And I'm like, oh no, we're not sitting. We're going, so we were there, I think, for like 4 or 5 hours. I mean, we were there a really long time, and he was really
Yeah.
rather irritated. But I did all the pictures, all the little TikToks, all the little things. I had Peloton friends from Kansas City and Chicago that met us up there. We did on Friday night, we did a shakeout run with Peloton. And then, and we did dinner out with them, and some like just walking around stuff. Then on Saturday, I did the 5K. My husband did
Very
not do,
cool.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to like also see the course and also like get
Sure.
the jitters out and like be like, okay, I'm running in a big place, um, and see what it was. And I wanted the medal and the hat. And
The
I was
important
like,
things. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, there's a beam. So we did that. And then a bunch of us went out to dinner together. And then we had the Ronald McDonald House had a pasta dinner. And I had raised enough to invite all my friends from Peloton to come to the dinner as well.
Very cool.
And then it was kind of like an anniversary dinner too. Like, happy anniversary.
We're running a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, you have to keep up with me. I was like, if you don't, I'm going to take that credit card straight to Tiffany's. And he's like, I'll just turn it off. And then
That's
just going to
so
turn it
funny.
off. But
Yeah.
the morning of the marathon, he knew when to get up, and that was good. Like I was, of course, filming TikToks of my flat lays and like me jumping up and the whole thing. And he's just laying
Yeah.
in bed like, this is ridiculous. But I had my little girl braid my hair with hot pink braids, and then I went to bed, and I got up, I think it was at 5:30, but my husband's really good about knowing like where you're supposed to be and like going place. I had no idea. I have my bathrobe on, and they led us to the tent for the Ronald McDonald House, which was very nice. Like my husband said that was like the best he'd ever been treated for a world
I've
major
heard really
race.
good things.
He was
Yeah.
he's like, Holly, this is not normal. Like, do not expect this kind of treatment ever again. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh. He's like, this is like top of the line.
I've heard really good things about Ronald McDonald from a lot of people.
He's like,
Yeah.
potty. I was like, oh, okay. And they had beautiful breakfast. They bag checked our stuff. And so I met a bunch of my other Peloton friends in there. And we had breakfast, and then we were able to go to the bathroom in there. I was very worried about the bathroom, Taylor. So I'd read many things about you getting put in the corral, and then there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So anxiety hit like probably 2 weeks before. So I had created a plan. So my plan was, I had my bathrobe, and I had ordered these bagged urinals for women.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, it's not going to be me. It's not going to
Yeah.
be me that has to go to the bathroom. And I was like, so one day my husband came home. I'm practicing because you got to practice. And so I'm on the back patio in a robe trying to pee in the urinal bag and keep my arms, because you're like, you don't want anyone to know you're doing it. So I was like, practice.
Right.
He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm peeing in a bag. He's like, for what? I was like,
Oh
you
my
don't have to
gosh.
worry about this because you can just
Yeah.
pee. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know if this is part of marathon training. I was like, well, it is now.
Yeah.
So I had my little pee bag and my little robe, and they let us in the like corral, and I did not have to go. Thank God. I think it's because I had, I was thinking it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. It was a just in case. It wasn't
yeah.
a like
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoever got my robe after got the free pee bag. But I was like, that was like my tip. I was like, I
Yeah.
think it calmed me that I didn't have to, if I had to go. But we got into the corral. My husband and I were in the same corral. And so we started together, but we've never run together. I'm faster than he is, and he knows it irritates me to have to like stay back. So he was just like, we took one picture, and he was like, go.
Yeah.
And so I knew I had read enough to know like that we were going to go through a tunnel and we would lose our watch, but I wasn't really worried about my watch. Like I know they said like you wouldn't, I wasn't going to pay attention to my pace really. I was just
Yeah.
going to try not to die. Like I knew I could make it the whole way, but I was like, I don't know if I care about time. Like I
Right,
hope we
right.
don't go out the gate too fast and crash, but I was like, I'm just going to have a good time.
Yeah.
So I knew my friends were standing at the 3 mile corner. So I went under the tunnel and there was DJ and there were lights. I'm like, this is
Oh, it was so fun.
I
Yeah,
was
it was
like,
great.
it's a party now. I was like, I have run all these runs by myself, alone, with nobody cheering but myself, or myself running down the driveway. I was like,
Yeah.
this is fun. And so we went through there, and then there was just people everywhere, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best. And I got to 3 miles and I was like, 3 miles already? I was like, oh my God. And they were standing there on the corner with my big old head and the cowbells. And I was like, hey. And they gave me a hug and they're like, we're going to the next. And I was like, all right. And so they met me. Like I had more Peloton people like all over the whole entire course. And then there was like they had nerd gummies, Diet Coke for me. I remember dancing. I remember singing. I know I couldn't hear my own music at all. And I danced in Boys Town. I mean, I had the best
Oh,
time.
that was the best.
I was having like an out of body experience. Like I was a rock star. Like they were like, her hair matches her shoes. They were like, I love your braids. And people were screaming your name because I had my name on my shirt and I had bedazzled my name on my bra. And I was
Cute.
like
Love that.
having the best time. And I was like, we got to the spot where you can hear yourself. There's like a spot where there's not a lot of people. The song that came on was John Denver. Thank God I'm a country boy. I did not put that on my playlist. But man, I sang that song so loud. I was like, thank God I'm a country boy. I know they said that it would be difficult to run down Michigan and then see people running back up. But that didn't bother me. Nothing bothered me. I was having the time of my life. I got toward the end. I didn't know it was the end. And I looked down and I saw numbers on the ground. And again, not a runner. So I was like, what's a 400? What's 800 mean? Like, I did not know. So then I looked over to the left and I was like, it's the end. That was the hill. I was like, oh, that was not a hill. Oh. I was like, darn it. And I know Marcel was in front of me. So Marcel, who always takes the hill, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I took the hill and I didn't know I took the hill.
Yeah.
But it was over. And I was like, that was so much fun. And
Yeah.
the lady put the medal on my neck and I was like, that was a fucking blast. And I was like, can I run it back? My husband's out there. Can I run it back? And she's like, no, ma'am, but you can come back next year. And I was like, I am coming back next year.
I will see you
I was
there.
like, I freaking loved it. I was like, I want to do them all. I was like, I want to do all the majors. I was like, this was the best thing ever. And I was like, I loved it. And I did 4 hours, 36 minutes. So
that's great.
Yeah, I did it way faster than I thought. I had no idea, but I was like dancing. But it feels like a blur. Like I don't remember ever, but I was running by myself. So I don't know. I wasn't talking to anybody. So
I love it though. Like what an incredible day and what a way to get the itch. And like you talking about the finish line and exactly what you just said about like, I got to do this again. That was so awesome. I'm like thinking about how you were how you were talking about the London Marathon when you were spectating your husband and being like, that could never be me. I would never do this. Fast forward to the
My
end, and you're
husband's
like,
like,
this
you
is
gotta do
great.
them all. Do you really have to do them all? It's so
Yeah.
expensive. And I'm like, you do it.
Yeah, you got to do it. It's my turn now.
Yeah. Well, and Ronald McDonald House had a great thing. Like afterwards, I got to go down a red carpet. They had chocolate
Oh,
milk and
fun.
champagne on these, and they had all these photo shoots. They had massages, all
Oh
this
my
stuff. So I
gosh.
went and rang the PR bell, got my picture taken at Runna, got a poster at Tracksmith, then went back for my husband. I had a
Oh,
great
I love
time.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
And we'll throw this in there. How did your husband do? How was his
Yeah.
race? He did
Yeah,
okay?
he finished. He had a little ankle situation, so he
Oh no.
finished. He has 1 star left, which is Tokyo, so he's got
Okay.
that lined
The
up for
hardest one.
27. So
Yeah.
yeah, so he keeps trying to get in, but he's like,
Yeah.
it is hard to get in. So
He got in though?
he's on a charity wait list, so he
Cool. Okay.
should get in there. So
Very
he's
cool.
like, maybe we should do it together. I'm like, yeah, we could do it together. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime I was like, I just want to do them. I want to do
Yeah.
them all. Like, so my son's name is Boston, and
Oh, cute.
we named him Boston about because of the marathon. So he was born in 2014, but it was the year of the bombing when I was pregnant with him, and I was watching Big Papi give his speech, and my mom's from Boston, and I was like, you have to run that marathon. He was like, I have to. And
Yeah.
so when he ran that marathon, it was like, so I want to run Boston, but oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of fundraising. So
Totally. Yeah.
because I am
But you
not
got the bug.
qualified for that sucker.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you got the bug. And
maybe when I'm 70.
when the time cutoff starts to be, the competition's less and less and less. That's the time to do it, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, if I could keep this pace up till I'm
Yeah.
70, I could do it.
You'll
But
do it. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, or I can try to raise the money. So we'll see. I got an offer shortly after Chicago to run Boston, but I was like, I don't think I can. I had already committed to Chicago immediately. And I was like, I don't know if I can do Boston too. So I might decide to do Boston if I can get into New York. I don't know.
The sky's the limit now.
I want to do them all.
Yeah. No, you've got the bug for sure, and that's how it happens. It's like you prove to yourself that you can do it once, and you have a great experience, or you have a bad experience, and you get the bug because you want to do better, right? But once you get one out of the way, like the sky's the limit from there.
All of them are going to be so great, Holly. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but
well, I'll find out.
I know. I was like, well, let me try.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Very cool. Well, I always love to ask for a piece of advice. So like thinking about who you were when you were first training for your marathon, or thinking about somebody training for their marathon, like what's the best piece of advice you might offer somebody like that?
I would say, just make sure, don't go for time, just go for fun, and like, just enjoy the whole experience. Like I didn't want it to end, and it kept getting short, and I was like, oh no, like, so just enjoy it. Like the hardest part is the training. The party was the race. So I would just say, don't do it for time. Don't worry about your pacing in the race. Just do it for fun, because that's where you'll want to do it again. I think if you put too much pressure on yourself, then you won't be happy.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, before we talk about what's coming up next for you, because I know you got a full calendar coming up, I want to talk about some of our fun questions. So shoes and fuel. We talked about fuel quite a bit, but we'll circle back on that too. But I always give the disclaimer that fuel and shoes are your own journey. So try everything and anything when it comes to fuel. For shoes, go to your local running store, try out shoes, and make sure you find what's best for you. But for fuel, you love goo and you love sweet goos. Is there anything outside, like you said that you mentioned your like pre-run meals and your post-run meals, like anything else that you really love for fuel?
I love those Stroop waffles. Like little ones that you get in Amsterdam, those little honey like they're honey stingers, but like I like those kind of things. Those are good. Or a bagel with peanut butter. I always like those. And I would say the Gatorade Endurance, that's what I used for the drink, because that's what I knew they had on the course. That way I knew it wouldn't hurt my stomach. And so that's what I practiced with.
Very cool. And a crispy Diet Coke. We know that.
Always love a Diet Coke.
Very cool. And then for shoes, what have you like for shoes over time?
Okay, so I love the Vomero. I have the 18s, the Plus, the premiums, and I ran the marathon in the Plus. I just got the premiums and I love them. I have the Alpha Flies and I have the Zoom Fly 6. And I love the Zoom Fly 6 as well for like a half marathon. So I love all the Nikes. I
Yeah,
love
I
all the
love them
pretty
too.
pinks.
And the Vomeros, I was gonna say the Vomeros have the best colors, so I'm
I
I'm all,
know they
all
do.
for the pinks and the greens and
Oh
yeah,
my,
they're cute.
they are so cute. The pink ones are
Yeah,
so cute.
yeah, very cool. Well, cool. Let's talk about what's coming up next. So you've got a full calendar this
Mhm.
year. What are some of the races you're excited about, or what's coming up for you?
So I'm going to do Rock the Parkway again as kind of like a training run for the Brooklyn Half that I get to do in person. The Brooklyn Half with the New York Roadrunners, something special they do is you can qualify for the New York Marathon by time in a half. And so I'm gonna try to kick some wheels out there and see if I can do it. If I can't, no big deal. I'm gonna try to just sign up for a charity then if I don't get it through the lottery. Um, and I have the New York City half virtually, and I have the London My Way full marathon virtually, and then I have the Chicago Marathon, and maybe I'll have the New York City Marathon. We'll see. And then maybe some 5Ks and stuff like that in Cape Cod and some here in Kansas, and we'll see. But
Love
I
it.
do a lot of virtual races. I love the virtual races.
I do love that. I feel like that as you're saying that, I'm like, man, I need to take more advantage of these big virtual races. I don't think I look into them enough. But do you have a plan for London? Like, have you thought about your route and what you're gonna do for the
Well,
virtual full?
it's gonna have to be around here.
Yeah.
So so it's called the London My Way. So they're going to send me a medal and a shirt. And I guess I'm going to just probably, I'll go to Garmin and back. And then maybe one more time around my neighborhood because it's 2 miles around like inside my neighborhood. Or maybe I'll try to find a run club. So I think it might be near when the Rock Parkway is. Maybe it can be the
Mm,
same day. I don't know. I'll have to check
yeah.
their restrictions on when it has to be. But I thought, well, I want to run London, but I can't. So I'll
Do the
run it my
virtual.
way.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. No, that's great. I'm excited to see how all of that turns out. And then yeah, if anybody wants to follow along with you in your journey over all these races, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm Krabby Cakes. I'm from Maryland originally. So it's Krabby, Krabbie _ cakes, KAKES. And I'm the same thing on TikTok. So,
Amazing. All right, cool. Well, I'll link everything in the show notes as well.
okay.
But thank you again for coming on and telling your story. It
Oh,
was awesome
I'm
getting to
so
know you a
excited
little bit
too.
and yeah, and hear about your experience. I'm excited to see how all these races end up for you this year.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the My First Marathon podcast. For more stories, tips, and resources, head to myfirstmarathonpodcast.com. And if you want access to bonus episodes, exclusive resources, and extra support for your training, make sure you check out the community at myfirstmarathonpodcast.com/exclusives. You can also follow along with us on socials, Instagram and TikTok, that's at myfirstmarathonpod. If you want to follow along with my personal journey, that's at tay.says. Whether you're training, recovering, or just thinking about signing up, you belong here. I'm so excited that you're here, and we'll see you on the next one.